Inside Michigan Football is presented by Meijer. Hi again, friends, and welcome to another edition of Inside Michigan Football. Doug Karsh alongside John Jansen following Michigan's 56-10 win over the Hawai'i Rainbow Warriors here at the Big House. And the game, well, was delayed, lightning delay. First time since 1961, they believe, that the Wolverines ran out of the tunnel and didn't touch the banner. It was also the latest start in Michigan Stadium history. Yeah,
a few things that threw this team off, but to the leadership of this team, starting with the coaches, the captains, they came out like there was no delay, like there was no distraction, and they set the tone early.
Well, it started with the first play from scrimmage as Blake Corum took a carry into Hawai'i territory.
This play is initially designed to go in here, but we talked about the vision of the running backs and how much better this year it is. See this big gap right here? We've got a guard that's going to come up through the middle here. We've got a tackle that's going to come up and try and block this linebacker. Tight end takes man on here. Tight end takes man on here. And as you can see, they overplay into this gap. So as Blake Corum takes off, he right now sees that we've got too many guys in that gap. He bounces it outside. Everybody gets caught up in the wash, and you're off to the races.
Well, that got Michigan into Hawai'i territory, and Roman Wilson, 42 yards over the top from J.J. McCarthy for the first touchdown of the game.
And this is an absolute beautiful play because you start thinking about what Roman Wilson does and what he provides. A little bit later, we're going to talk about the reverse, but he obviously wanted to show out in this game. 13 players from his high school are on the other sideline. This is an opportunity for him to show his friends what he came to the States, the contiguous 48 for. The speed of Roman Wilson, but the arm and accuracy of J.J. McCarthy.
Michigan's second drive, Ronnie Bell got involved on a crossing pattern, and then Blake Corum also featured a short touchdown to make it 14-0 Michigan. Later, the Wolverines got a 34-yard punt return from A.J. Henning. Jim Harbaugh's got a phrase, who's got it better than us? When it comes to special teams, not many.
They have been so good for so many years, and Jay Harbaugh, to his credit, is the special teams coordinator. When you have, Jake Moody, when you have Brad Robbins, that seems obvious. But whether it's, hey, blocked punts, we saw Cornelius Johnson do it last year. We've seen other guys be able to do that. When you can use special teams, that third phase of a team as a weapon, it becomes very hard to beat a team that's good offensively, defensively, but especially on special teams.
All right, that punt return set up the Roman Wilson reverse you were talking about earlier.
And this play is set up perfect because when Roman Wilson comes around the line of scrimmage, he's got a guard that's pulling to sell the defense. You've got a tight end that's pulling over here, but then loops around, and as they begin to go downfield, you're going to see this defense. Everybody goes that way, and now all of a sudden Roman Wilson is off to the races, and you got to love the big man, Ryan Hayes, running downfield for the touchdown. Didn't have to make a block, but sometimes it's the threat of violence that gets the score.
Wolverines took a 21-0 lead after that play, and in the second quarter, again, J.J. McCarthy extending the passing game downfield, a 55-yarder to Cornelius Johnson.
We have wanted explosive plays. We have wanted some sizzle in this offense. Right now, J.J. McCarthy offers that, and he offers it with great arm strength, but also great accuracy. He's able to draw Cornelius Johnson away from his defender, knowing that there's nobody there and that Cornelius can run to the ball, and hits him in stride, and it's a great pass downfield for a big play for Michigan.
That set up Ronnie Bell's 13-yard touchdown catch. Catch he made in traffic, took a hit, but the Wolverines led it 28-0. And Michigan's defense with some great plays. Jalen Harrell dismissing a blocker and making a tackle with one arm. DJ Turner bringing the hammer on a completion in front of the Hawai'i sideline. And later, Mike Morris on the sack. The first-string defense was just about perfect.
They were. Mike Morris, the only sack of the day, but when you talk about being physical in the secondary, this is a game in today's college football where it's a passing attack. And if you have the threat downfield that, hey, if I'm going across the middle, if I'm going down the sideline, I'm going to have to catch it, and I know I'm going to take a hit, that takes a lot of concentration. There's a lot of guys that won't make that catch.
Matt Weiss, Michigan's passing game coordinator and quarterback coach, told me that Donovan Edwards could be a Division I wide receiver and a good one. And this catch he makes, which set up his own touchdown, was spectacular.
Well, it was the Donovan Edwards drive. It was a nice run on first down. All of a sudden, hey, you get an opportunity. You line him up at wide receiver. You hit him down at the 1 yard line. And we saw it last year against Maryland. 10 catches for, 170 yards. You can use him in so many different ways. He is the offense's ultimate weapon. And then obviously be able to put it in, hey, that is something that Donovan Edwards adds to this offense. It's a changeup from Blake Corum. And then you start going down the list of running backs. It's exciting what could be in this backfield.
Michigan led it 35-0 at that point, and then later, J.J. McCarthy, late in the first half, stepping up in the pocket and then letting a laser go, a fastball to Cornelius Johnson in the end zone.
This is what J.J. McCarthy offers this offense, to be able to extend plays, to be evasive in the pocket, have the good pocket presence, and then all of a sudden he knows once that passing lane opens up, I could run it, but then all of a sudden he sees Cornelius Johnson, shows great touch, great velocity of being able to dump that ball over top of a linebacker, right where Cornelius Johnson could catch it, feet down in the end zone, and it's fun to watch him operate in the pocket.
We go late third quarter with Michigan on top 42-3, and Davis Warren in at quarterback finds tight end Max Bredesen for 57 yards.
It was the pass to the tight end and being able to thread the needle. If that ball leads them by too much, it's an interception. If it's behind him, it's an interception. Max Bredesen does a great job of bringing the ball in. Accuracy was great, and then the yards after catch is something that we all love to see.
C.J. Stokes scores a touchdown to put Michigan on top 49-3, puts his hand on the hip of his blocker and makes a good cut up the field.
This is a thing of beauty. We talk about Blake Corum at the beginning of the game, the patience that he had, his ability to have vision and feel for what's going on the other side of the ball. And I think this is a direct influence of Mike Hart as their coach. Now all of a sudden C.J. Stokes comes around, the patience of allowing your linemen to get out there. Hey, I know running backs are faster than linemen, but you've got to allow them to get out there, get their block set up. He sets them up, puts the defender where he wants them to be. There's the lineman. He cuts in right behind him, and he goes for a score.
Isaiah Gash later on a 3rd and 7 goes 37 yards for his first touchdown at Michigan.
And he, at the end, it is rumbling, stumbling, and he finally gets in the end zone. A great run. And again, great vision by the running backs.
Wolverines led it 56-10. Late in the game, Jaden Hood on 4th down, a pass breakup to keep Hawai'i out of the end zone.
Well, hey, you need to see young players make great plays, and that's what we saw on the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, and that's what you get when you're playing against a team like Hawai'i. You want to see everybody get involved.
Wolverines win it 56-10. When we continue on Inside Michigan Football, we'll hear from the head coach, Jim Harbaugh. Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2022 Michigan football season and proud supporter of hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. Today's conversation with Jim Harbaugh is brought to you by Meijer.
Coach, 56-10, 2-0 right now. Your initial reaction to seeing your team win tonight's game?
Yeah, I felt this really played great, especially, I mean, there's some distraction there where, you know, you're set to go out for pregame warm-up, and then, you know, the lightning strike gets delayed. But I just thought our guys, you know, kept their cool, and you know, just saved it, and then time to play, ramped it right back up.
In that hour or so delay, what'd you guys do to keep them focused up here or to keep them loose?
Yeah, I just was walking around just to make sure that they were relaxed, knowing they're going to have another hour, maybe hour and a half. Ended up being 2 before we got going again, and I realized I really didn't have to, you know, make them more relaxed. They were really focused when coming over here, getting off the bus and getting ready for the game. But yeah, they just went, you know, back to loose, and then it was time to go. You could see it come right back.
7 different players score 8 touchdowns tonight. Your thoughts on being able to spread the wealth around and so many guys stepping up?
Yeah, Roman Wilson, we got to be just super happy for Roman. He played great, and Ronnie Bell and you know, J.J. McCarthy, you know, a near flawless game, and thought our offensive line, you know, really all the all the guys did a great job, and you know, it was everybody saw that. And then second half, we went guys that hadn't played, you know, really the backups, and I was keeping track. I told them it was 0-0 coming out of half, and we're going with the backups in the second half, and I think we ended up winning at 17-14 with a pretty big goal line stand there at the end. So tremendous learning experience, you know, for so many guys that are playing their first football, and overall accomplished things we wanted to accomplish. You know, win the game. Thought we improved, and came out without too much injury. Jalen Perry, looked like he got a high ankle sprain, but you know, a lot of good ball played tonight.
You mentioned J.J. McCarthy, near flawless performance. Care to elaborate a little bit on what you saw from him in the first half? Yeah,
I mean, 11 for 12 on the stat sheet, but it was really 12 for 12 because the incompletion was a drop. I mean, that's hard to do on a Thursday practice, you know, to hit them all like that. And I thought he did a great job maneuvering up in the pocket on the one touchdown and throwing it to the corner of the end zone. Made some. Played cool, calm, collected again. It was great to see, and he was seeing the field good, super accurate, and you know, just looked great.
Davis Warren in the second half, we saw him hit Max Bredesen on a pass that, quite honestly, he was threading the needle on. What'd you see from him and his first opportunity to step in the big house? Yeah, it was neat to see. Hit the crossing post there to Max Bredesen. You know, Bredesen name around here is royalty.
It's royalty. Yeah, and Max is a huge favorite of everybody. You know, great to see him. C.J. Stokes, thought he had made some nice runs as well. So it was cool. I mean, some true freshmen, you know, out there, and you know, getting their learning. Thought Will Johnson really took a step from week 1 to week 2, and there was others, Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant. I mean, both those guys as true freshmen were playing really good inside in the middle there. And Dom Gadis, we moved Dom from defense to offense during the week here, and I wish I might have done that a little bit sooner in his career. He's really an offensive lineman in every way, mentality. He's brought the old school running your feet, driving your feet, you know, to the echo of the whistle. So I was happy for him. Raheem Anderson, thought he played good in there too. Gio El Hadi's playing really good football, just getting better and better. So yeah, good. Hopefully we can get Carson Barnhart back next week. Great to see Ryan Hayes out there. You know, he wanted more in the second half, and ended up putting the first line back in at one point just because they wanted some more play. But yeah, really good. Deuce Spurlock, saw him get a big hit. I mean, it'd be fun to go through the tape, and I think 90 plus guys played in the game, and I'd be excited to watch it.
Yeah, I think it was Dave Abloff mentioned it was 96 guys. How important is it for you to get those guys in that, one, you want to get experience for young guys, but there's also guys that have been toiling and, you know, doing everything you ask them to, and they don't often see the field, but tonight they did.
Tonight they did. I mean, you know, we really had you know, the twos really went out and played the whole second half. And Joey Velasquez, I mean, he was big on that goal line stand. Great to see him playing good ball. You know, it was quite a few guys. Quentin Johnson, thought he did some really good things. The edge guys. Braden McGregor, another step for Braden. I mean, that's I could see that from the field, but also excited to watch it on the film. Taylor Upshaw, the edge guys, you know, played good. Derek Moore, thought he did some good things. So there's you know, guys get their first taste of action, and then it keeps going up from there. A lot of good play. You know, it's good football. Proud of them.
Great. Thanks, Coach. We'll talk to you next week.
Just keep playing hard.
Saturday was the 70th night game in program history and the 12th at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines are 10-2, and we expect at least one more night game at home this season. This week's Outro Steel Man of the Week is Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy, who completed 11 of 12 passes for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was calm, cool, and collected. You know, he acted like he's started before. He acted like he's been there before. I expected nothing less from number 9, but He did great. He did a great job at, hitting the check downs, throwing the deep ball, running.
J.J. McCarthy was outstanding here at the Big House in his first career start.
Jim Harbaugh said it was a near-perfect performance, and other than a drop, it would have been a perfect performance in terms of pass attempts and completions. And when you watch J.J. operate, this is what we all were hoping we saw, and we definitely saw it tonight. Not necessarily a great defense, but stepping up in the pocket, showing the ability to move around, accuracy for explosive plays down the field, touch on plays that ended up resulting in a touchdown. And here's what I thought was the best. His ability to operate the offense. It looked like he was comfortable out there. Like he could tell guys, hey, you need to move up on the line of scrimmage. We need another guy out here. Hey, timeout. We don't have the right personnel on the field. We saw that when they went heavy down on the goal line. So I thought his command of the offense, command of the huddle, and then performance was outstanding.
Didn't really have to run it, but obviously that's part of the game that we saw showcased last week against Colorado State. And during the week, you spoke to him on your podcast. He met with the media, fun-loving kid who spoke very, very highly of Cade McNamara and what he's learned from Cade.
Well, they're great friends, and they're going to push each other. They're competitors. They both want to be out there. Tonight was an opportunity for us to see what JJ provides to this offense, and most Wolverine fans are going to be pretty excited about what they saw.
All right, when we continue on Inside Michigan Football, we'll check in with the Michigan defense. The Wolverines remain unbeaten in 4 all-time meetings against Hawaii. Michigan has dominated by outscoring the Rainbow Warriors 194-30.
We was just like, attack it like we playing, Ohio State, Michigan State, prepare like we playing them, those type of teams. You can never overlook somebody, because God forbid we went into the game and thought it was gonna be sweet. Could have ended up like some of the other teams that play today. Texas A&M lost to Appalachian State. We were trying to focus on just focus and lock in like it's the last, game in November.
Hawaii offensively hasn't done much this year with their air raid attack, but Michigan's defense, especially when the starting unit was in there, they really smothered them.
When they had the opportunity to put pressure on the quarterback, only 1 sack, but that ball was coming out super fast. The secondary, to me, and the linebackers is the story of this game. The ability to put Makari Page at a safety position, to roll him up over top of a slot receiver, to put him at the linebacker spot. I think the way that they're using the safeties is genius, and it allows you to help the run support, but it also allows these guys to be very physical in the pass game.
I was talking with Steve Clinkscale, Michigan's co-defensive coordinator, prior to this season, and he said he wanted to rotate a lot of guys because if you play 40 snaps a game, it keeps you fresh when you get into October and November when the schedule gets more difficult. And games like this, well, guys I'm sure want to play, it tends to allow them to bank some of their fatigue and maybe big hits that they can get later in the year and be fresher later in the year.
Well, they want to play, but they also, when they're out there, if they're fresh, they're going to be better at what they're doing. We saw pass breakups, we saw big hits, we saw guys supporting the run. This is when you have depth at defensive back and at corner, you have depth at linebacker, then you can play with a certain speed because you're not worried about, hey, if Junior Colson comes out, is there a drop-off in talent? There might be a little bit, but those guys can go in there and perform at a very high level.
When we continue on Inside Michigan Football, we'll wrap things up from here at the Big House.
Welcome back to Inside Michigan Football, and I want everyone to know how much time Doug spent working on Hawaii's roster, learning all the names. He did a pretty good job with pronunciations.
Intended receiver, Tamitoa Mokio Atamalala. Incomplete.
Well done. Well
I've been waiting all night.
A little bit of a big celebration for just doing your job.
Maybe. I was pretty pleased with Mokio Atamalala. And after all my practice, I was really hoping he'd get targeted. And he did. So I'm looking forward to UConn next week with maybe some Smith, Jones, Johnson. Yeah. Those names I can handle a lot easier.
And pretty much my take was whatever he said.
Well, we look forward to next week. We'll be back here at the Big House to take a look back at Michigan and UConn here on Inside Michigan Football. Inside Michigan Football is brought to you by Meijer, presenting sponsor of the 2022 Michigan football season. and proud supporter of hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest.